Okay, so we're getting up and moving again. I'm in the sport mode now, and I can tell you it definitely feels more responsive in the sport mode. It's kind of more aggressive. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm gonna be going over the all-new Genesis G90. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Genesis of Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this G90. I'm gonna include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Marie. And then on a side note, if you want to save time, money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 3.5 liter V6 that's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission and an E-Supercharger. Total system output is 409 horsepower and then 405 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 17 around town and then 24 on the highway. I love how the engine cover says turbo, and then down below, they're flexing that they got the electric supercharger. Now, before we go to the front end, I do to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see the Genesis logo front and center, and overall design is actually very simplistic. It's just flat there in the center, and then you've got some sharp lines off to either side. Love the look of the headlights here. Definitely have a pretty crazy design. And then popping over to the grille, you've got parking sensors integrated as well as a camera. And I love the coloration. You guys can see it kind of changes throughout. And then we do have some sensors here at the bottom as well as some more parking sensors. And putting it all together, I think that the new G90 looks great. Coming around the side here, tire wheel setup is 245 40 21 in the front and then 275 35 21 in the rear. It also has rear wheel steering as well as a multi-chamber air suspension system. Now, another thing that I want to mention is just look how crazy those wheels look. Like, lots happening, but I think it looks good. And I love the subtle coloration there on the brake caliper as well. Now this is pretty interesting how they've cut the fender right there, and then you guys can see the lights here on the side. It's actually for the turn signal, so you guys can imagine that the turn signal's on, and well actually, there you go, that's what it would look like. Now the mirrors are body painted, and then we also have these cool pop-out door handles with chrome trim there on top of the handles. And putting it all together, it obviously has that large, long luxury car appearance, but it also looks like a futuristic concept type car, but like this is something that you can buy today. We've got the key fob here with the Genesis logo and pretty cool design there. Notice we've got our unlock lock function, then the opening here for the trunk. And then this does have the self-park feature, so you can basically move the car forwards and backwards once you've turned on the remote start function, which is also on the key fob. But we're gonna pop open the trunk. Now, being a full-size sedan means that we have tons of storage space here in the back with the G90. And that's one of the big benefits of going for a larger sedan like this. And when you're all done, just press that and it'll lower the trunk right back down. Really cool looking taillights here in the back. And then you guys can see the trunk popper is actually this little button right here. So if you press that, that'll pop it back open, which I guess now we gotta pop this back open. You guys are seeing like a million trunk openings and closings. Anyways, look at all of the logos here, like the G90 logo, all that. And we do have parking sensors at the bottom as well. And putting it all together, I think that the new G90 just looks so good. Now, taking a look at the rear door panel, look at the beautiful leather trim. I love the two-tone design. And looks like we've got some forged carbon as well, Bang & Olufsen sound system. And then notice with the rear passengers, you've got memory seats, you've got massaging seats, you've got a bunch of adjustments. We've got our window controls right here. This is actually for the door to close it, but yeah, really nice looking door panel. And then these seats are just as beautiful. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. Now I can press the button on the door, or I can also press this button right here, and it'll close the door. More of that forged carbon right here in the back of the seat. And then I've got a little storage pocket here. By the way, legroom is just fantastic in the rear. And we've got some vents here, and you guys can see the cup holders kind of popped out right there. It's kind of a funny place to put them. And there's actually really nice leather trim on that portion too. Now you notice here on the side, I've got a bunch of seat adjustments right here. So again, super adjustable rear seats. And then up above, I've got a bunch of controls. So you've got the door controls right here, and then this is like for the radio. And then actually behind the controls, we got some storage space, USBs, full wireless phone charging pad, and just look at like the finish on the leather trim here. And then this is like our rear infotainment system. So for example, you guys can see the climate control stuff is pulled up. I can also pull up the seats as well, so I can adjust them. We've got this for like the sunshades here in the back. And I mean, it literally is basically a secondary infotainment system, which is pretty crazy. But overall response time's great. And I mean, this is modern luxury. Now up top, we actually have like leather wrapped around the grab handles, which is crazy. And then we actually have mirrors here in the back as well. And you guys can see really nice premium headliner. And we also do get our own sunroof here in the back. So like, I don't know what else you could put in this car, honestly. Now the front door panel has all the same nice materials as what you have in the rear, and we also have some ambient lighting, which is pretty cool. All of our seat adjustment, memory seat functionality. We can even adjust the passenger seat here, and then we have the same door closing function. All of our window controls here, sunshades, mirror adjustment, which looks very premium, and then blind spot monitoring in the mirrors as well. Now taking a look at the seat, you guys can see perforated all down the center with really cool stitching design, just like the rear, and then we have all of our adjustments on the side. Pretty normal looking pedals here at the bottom, and then look at the controls just for like the parking brake and everything. Just really nice finish on those, and look at the leather trim. And again, with that forged carbon, steering wheel is power adjustable. And I like this trim piece right here. Obviously it's got that to open up the trunk, but it looks interesting. Now taking a look at the steering wheel itself, really nice black leather trim all around, and then you guys can see like the brown in the background. That is definitely unique. We've got all of our volume controls, phone controls. It does have adaptive cruise control as well as steering assist. Paddle shifters here on the back for that 8-speed automatic, and then we have our turn signal light stock, and then our windshield wiper stock. Now we have this full digital gauge cluster here in the center, which has all the important information you need. So it shows you like RPMs, for example, how much range you have, temperature outside, you know, all the normal stuff. And then we do have this little side screen, which we can use to scroll through different menus here at the car. So like on the radio, you guys can see now, like with the power distribution. So pretty cool setup. And then in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And we've got this like 360 view as well, as you can see. And so from a camera perspective, I mean, this thing is absolutely covered. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, you guys saw it is a touchscreen, but I can also control everything with a dial if I want. Either way, frankly, is easy to use because the touchscreen response time is fantastic, but then the dial itself is also really cool. I like how you have the 3D setup. So you can basically go through the car and you can basically set up everything here, but like seeing the car itself rather than just having like a vague menu. So yeah, they definitely went above and beyond, let me tell you. Yeah, so I guess this is a thing, because look, you've got this one here, and then I showed you guys the other one earlier, so it's like they both pop up on either side. And speaking of the dash here, look at the beautiful brown leather. We got more of that forged carbon. It kind of all connects together here. And it almost has like a granite type appearance. That's what it kind of gives me the like impression of. And then at the top, you got more really nice leather. And then look at like the vents. Those connect across the dash as well. So down below, we've got our dual zone climate controls here for the G90. And I like how you've got really nice buttons to control it. And we even have our fragrance here as well. That's why it smells so good in the car. Obviously, you guys can't smell it through camera, but just gotta trust me. Now, underneath this, we have a couple of cup holders, and I like how it's brown to match, and then really nice trim right next to it. And then you guys will notice here, we've got little icons right there for the dial shifter. And then this is actually a little fingerprint scanner. You have your volume controls right here, analog control for the infotainment system, heated and cooled seat control here with your drive mode select. Notice that's for the camera. This is to shut the doors. Wireless phone charging pad. It's kind of hard to see that on camera. Sorry about that. And then I can press this button, and this will open up the center console, which has tons of storage space. Again, really nice leather trim here. Now those drive modes do pop up here in the center, so you guys can see we've got a sport, eco, and comfort that we can go between. The bolsters do tighten around you when you go into the sport mode. I almost forgot to mention, we've got a glove box lined with felts, and I like the handle. The handle definitely has a nice finish to it. And then up top here, you guys can see we've got the sunroof here for the front, and again, really nice headliner throughout, so they did a great job with that. So here's a window sticker for this G90, and this is the 3.5T version you guys saw. Pretty much everything standard equipment. There's your base MSRP $98,700, and then after all options and destination, $100,530, and let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here on the G90. Here's visibility of the hood, and hopefully you can now see the heads-up display. Both of the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring throughout the rest of the rear. And dial shifter away. Actually, we'll clean up the windshield first a little bit so you can see a bit better. But yeah, first off, seat comfort's amazing, and we're gonna get a massage. Ooh, so many nice luxury features in this. Now, something to note with that air suspension, with the rear steer, air suspension makes it really smooth, but the rear steer makes this drive pretty small, actually. This is a big, you know, full-sized, S-Class sized sedan, and, you know, it doesn't drive that large. It's impressive. And it's also got the, you guys probably saw that for a second, it's got the turn signal camera, which is pretty cool as well. Nice luxury feature to have, nice safety feature, frankly. I love the smell of this. If you ever have a chance, just sit in one of these while they're on. It has a very nice aroma that comes out through the vents. And I love the overall feel of the interior, especially this forged carbon. Everything looks fantastic. So smooth with the ride quality. Yeah, going over bumps, this is really good. Again, that adaptive air suspension really helps out. Massaging seat function also really helps out. The most impressive thing, frankly, is not like, you know, on smooth pavement driving. It's when I go over a bump that's super impressive. Because, like, a lot of modern cars can drive pretty smooth on smooth pavement, but, like, this over bumps, it deletes a lot of them. It does a really good job. It's pretty fantastic, frankly. Yeah, going over, it's just like, it just erases it. Super impressed. Again, for being a unibody sedan, it's quite impressive what they've done with the ride quality here. And this powertrain has lots of good low-end torque, and that's where that E-Supercharger comes into play, because it allows, you know, it allows for you to just basically get quite a bit more right off of the line, which is great. And let's actually find a place to turn around here, because I want to try to show you guys the rear steer in action. I think there's some cul-de-sacs down here. So yeah, I think right here we've got a cul-de-sac. So this will be a great place for me to show you guys with the rear steer. I know this is not the most exciting driving on the planet, but you know, it's what we got to do to test. I'm going through that dip. It's crazy how comfortable. Okay, so I know cul-de-sac's like a pretty big thing here, but look at this. Look how tight I can make this turn. Like, I think that's pretty dang tight, especially for how long this thing is. Like, it turns like a small sedan, not a you know, full-size sedan. Okay, so we're getting up and moving again. I'm in the sport mode now, and I can tell you it definitely feels more responsive in the sport mode. It's kind of more aggressive in terms of like when you get up and move. Okay, I understand what the widget thing. I want to see the power distribution though. If it's saying more power to the front or the rear, I think that'll be interesting for me to see. And also the bolster is being tighter around you in the sport mode. It's like another interesting kind of thing. I haven't seen one of those body style of Grand Cherokees in a minute. That's always interesting. WK body style. Anyways, it's pretty equal. It's pretty equal. Let's looks like there might be a little bit more sent to the front initially, at least what this graph is showing, but overall it's pretty equal with power distribution. Now in terms of acceleration, it's solid. It's kind of more similar to like the Mercedes S500 rather than like an S580 in terms of the acceleration. So if you're more of a speed junkie, then Genesis right now doesn't offer a powertrain that is more like the S580, but I'm sure that they will in the future, because, you know, they're always doing stuff to improve their vehicles. But let's pop it back into, let's do comfort mode again. But setting things up here with the G90, I think it looks fantastic. And I think the big topic for this car has been the price, because everyone's like, oh, it now commands, you know, S-Class pricing, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't. So this is $100,000 fully loaded. If you want an S-Class that has features like this, then you're gonna have to spend about $130,000, roughly speaking. If you want a BMW that has features like this, same thing now with the new 7 Series, you're gonna have to spend about $130,000, $140,000. Now again, those can have more powerful powertrains, so that's the benefit with those cars. If you want the more powerful powertrain in Mercedes with these features, you're gonna be more like $140,000, $150,000. So yes, this is more expensive than the previous version, but it's still significantly less expensive than the two other staples in this segment, the 7 Series and the S-Class. And so Genesis is still playing, you know, the bargain card with this. But let me know what you guys think about the G90.